Okay, I'm going to pass the hat to the one and only Jim Hightower with a
Ooh.
special message to our Revolution members across the state of Texas.
Well,
Jim?
hello to the whole Texas team of political revolutionaries and abrazos all around for a terrific Tuesday that we just had. Clayton and Christy will be giving you some details later, but the big news is 72% of our revolution candidates in the runoff on Tuesday won. Going into the general election. So thanks to first of all, the candidates who dared to stand up again without big money, without major national political support, just with people power and with ideas and with passion and a belief that the government ought to belong to us, to ordinary folks, rather than the corporate powers. Thanks also to those campaign organizers out there who do the nitty gritty day in, day out work that produces these kinds of victories. And particularly to our Revolution Texas volunteers and activists who produce a grassroots victory at the polls. It's been a tremendous, tremendous time for us. Thanks also to Clayton and Christy for keeping us focused and keeping us moving. That's the big thing. This has been a true movement victory, the likes of which I've not seen since myself and Ann Richards and Jim Maddox and Gary Morrow came together in a unity ticket in 1982 and won all statewide offices in that year. We didn't do it just because of my good looks. We did it because ordinary people stood up and rallied around the kinds of issues that we were talking about. Turnout is based on turn on, and our candidates have been turning on the grassroots, and that's why we have so many victories today. It's a true movement victory with many more to come. I don't want to get all biblical on you, but they say that you reap what you sow. And since 2016, we in our Revolution Texas have been sowing the seeds of a political revolution, a political change to move Texas not just blue, but Bernie blue, a bright Bernie blue, to where ordinary people are in fact, the government. We've been fighting over this, with this for 4 years, sowing those seeds, nurturing those seeds, and now we have victories this very week. So enough of me. We're going to have wonderful comments from a few of our stalwart candidates, Mike Siegel and Julie Oliver, both congressional candidates now. Jose Garza, who's taking on the huge fight for reform of the justice movement to where it might actually have some justice in it here in Travis County. So we're going to go to them. And I'll just leave you with this. Willie Nelson says that the early bird might get the worm, but it's the second mouse that gets the cheese. And we're out there to get the cheese this time because we have built this thing over 4 years, and now we're going to collect what is due for the people of Texas. Thank you all for what you're doing. Great to be with you. Proud to be a part of this effort.
Thank you so much, Jim. And as Jim said, we have had tremendous victories on this Tuesday. 8 of our 11 candidates won their runoffs, and a lot of them are here with us today. And I know y'all want to hear from them. So let's go ahead and start, and let's go from the top and let's move on down. So Mike Siegel, I saw your name there, buddy. What do you want to say to the Our Revolution folks who made so many phone calls, so many text messages, and so many voter contacts over these last few weeks?
I heard it was in the thousands and the tens of thousands. So tremendous appreciation and gratitude. The idea of not me, us is so critical. And, the way I've been talking about it as progressive Democrats, we're going to win in Texas when we show folks that we're not just showing up for ourselves to ask for folks' vote, but we're showing up for the community to fight for folks on the issues that matter most to them. And that's the kind of spirit I've tried to bring to this campaign. And I know whether you're talking about Julie Oliver, Jose Garza, Penny Shaw, Lorenzo, Michelle, I haven't met all these folks, Jasmine, Jennifer, Tava. I mean, congrats to everybody on this slate because it's not easy. I mean, I started this a cycle before in 2018. The first big endorsement I got was Our Revolution, Harris County. And then, you know, a month ago, Senator Bernie Sanders came on to support this campaign. And so from little things, you know, it's like you knock over that little tiny domino and it's a bigger one and a bigger one and a bigger one. And now I'm in position to defeat the wealthiest member of Congress in November, to flip what has been historically a Republican seat ever since they gerrymandered Texas to not just a Democratic seat, but a progressive seat. And that's how it should be, right? The Texas 10th unites Austin and Houston. It should be ours. It should be a progressive seat. And so really honored to be a part of this movement. Thank you all for your support. I want to wish Julie Oliver a happy early birthday. I know she's having a birthday party coming up. I'm not going to be able to make it, Julie, but big up, Julie. And anyway, y'all, thank you so much. I'm just overflowing with gratitude. Yesterday, I was elated. Today, I'm a little tired. I must admit, you know, these elections are exhausting and I got to ramp up for November. But so glad to be in this fight with you. And hopefully a couple of you will knock doors or make calls for November when we take on the wealthiest Trump-loving Republican in Texas. So let's kick some butt. And, you know, thank you. Yeah, Clayton, Christy, Jim Hightower, to all of you that make this movement possible. Appreciate y'all.
We appreciate you, Mike. So next candidate is Penny. Now remember, candidates, there are 8 of y'all, and we do have quite a bit of a show because we have some really exciting news from our local leaders about real progressive changes that are happening throughout Texas. So Penny, let's see here. Penny, are you still with us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good, good. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be here. And wow, look at what you all did. I mean, this is so amazing. And thank you, Jim. I'm a latecomer. I'm just, here to be part of your revolution and make it our revolution. This particular race, be encouraged, be so proud of yourself. We were outspent by $100,000, no less than $100,000. And like Jim was saying, the truth, right? He's been, sowing seeds of the truth so that we get justice here and equality and equal access. In this particular race, the truth in all of your hard work is what made us win, really. I mean, our opponent was heavily funded by Betsy DeVos's foundation, heavily funded by the Waltons constantly. And look what you did. I mean, the people voted, they came out, they heard you, and we prevailed. And so I'm encouraged, be encouraged. I'm still soaking it in. It was a 200 vote win as far as we know right now. Of course, the official confirmation comes in a few more days. But just deep, deep gratitude. This is a unified effort. We do it together. We do it together. Our forces in numbers. I always say dollars don't vote, people do. So let's just keep at it. Let's go full force into November. I'm here for you. And I trust that you'll be here for me. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Hey, we appreciate you, Penny. Let's move on to Tiaiva.
I just want to pop on and say thank you so much for all the calls that you made. I worked almost every single day early voting and election day at the polls, and people came up and said they were out because they got a phone call. And one lady was like, "You're the only name I know on the ballot. People have been calling me." So I appreciate it. We took 63% of the vote. We are on to November, but it literally would not be possible without y'all making phone calls and the Facebook posts and the text messages. I just really appreciate it. And I just appreciate it. I just want to say thank you.
Thank you so much, Tiaiva. Jose.
Hey, everyone. It is so good to be with Our Revolution because this victory, our victory on Tuesday, belongs to you. Over the last several months, you guys have been texting, making phone calls, and you contacted almost 100,000 voters. This victory is yours, and I am so incredibly grateful. Together, we are going to continue the hard work of repairing and transforming our broken criminal justice system so that we can build communities that invest in working class people, invest in communities of color, invest in young people and women, instead of locking up communities of color and working class people. I believe that this moment is our opportunity to fundamentally reimagine our criminal justice system And what Tuesday demonstrated is that our movement is stronger than the status quo. And so we must keep organizing, keep calling on to November. I couldn't be more grateful. Thank you so much.
I like that. Stronger than the status quo. I'm writing that down right now. Dr. Jennifer Cantu.
Hi, thank you, Our Revolution. I couldn't have won without you guys. I mean, people showed up saying they knew who I was because they either received a text, received a phone call. And in this moment, I really just want to do thank you to Our Revolution Fort Bend, Brazoria. They came out on Tuesday and were helping me at the polls. And, you know, as a no business and just doing a grassroots movement, our sweat equity won us this race. And it's our unity that will get us in November. So just thank you to everybody. We really appreciate it.
We appreciate you. Lorenzo.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for all the hours you guys put into our campaign. We were successful only because of our volunteers. That is why we were able to get through in Collin County on a very progressive message, a message that was talking about healthcare, that was talking about climate change, that was talking about criminal justice, and all the things that are concerning our community. That's why we had so many volunteers get involved in our campaign. So we couldn't have done it without you. If you guys watched our race, it came down to the wire. We know that we were able to pull it off again on election day because of the hours that our volunteers poured into our campaign. So we couldn't have done it without you. We're fighting for everybody. This campaign is not about me. It's not about any one of us individually. It's about us. It's about making sure that we push as hard as we can, because this is the Texas, the progressive Texas that the people really, really want and really deserve here. So thank you again. I can never explain to you how grateful I am for all the work all the volunteers have done for us.
Hey, we appreciate you. Michelle Palmer.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for all of the calls and texts that you all made. It was incredibly important that we win this race. It's a low information race. Nobody knows what the State Board of Education does, but it is incredibly important that we make sure that the curriculum our students are learning through makes sense and isn't full of propaganda. So I appreciate everything you've done. Much like Penny, my opponent was funded by the charter school system. So this is a strike against them. So I very much appreciate everything that you have done. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Penny. Now, Jasmine. Jasmine, you there?
I'm here. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So just call me the comeback kid. So number one, I just want to say thank you, especially to Kevin. I saw that he's on here. Kevin pushed so hard for me. We actually had an opponent that amassed $500,000 and had the star power of Beto O'Rourke and Wendy Davis in this safe Democratic seat. So now we finished this race and our margin was actually a little bit tighter than Penny's. As it turns out, we won by 88 votes, but we never gave up. You guys fought to the very end. So the one thing that I can say for everyone that has to go through until November is do not give up. You cannot slow down. You've got to push through until 7 p.m. on election day. And that's exactly what we did. Text messages were still flying out, calls were still being made, and every single vote counted. And so we were able to go ahead and take away the win from a recent incumbent, so to speak, with 88 votes. And so I am so thankful for you guys jumping in and supporting us. And yeah, good luck to everyone in November. I'm done.
Hey, we appreciate all y'all. And there's, again, 88 votes. Sometimes a single vote is what makes a difference. So we appreciate all our candidates. And I'm going to pass the hat to my coworker and co-host for this call, Christy Lara, to go over the agenda.
So I want to thank everyone who was on the call, all of our candidates, endorsed candidates, those that won, and those that will win next time. We thank you for spreading the progressive message. My heart is happy, not just because you won, but because I know that we have activists on the ground working and organizing to help get your name out there and increase voter turnout on those election days. So thank you to everyone that's on the call that worked those campaigns, worked those elections, connected with these candidates, and most importantly, use the Bernie dialer to turn out the Bernie vote in these primary runoff races. You can see here we have a long agenda tonight, so we're going to keep it moving as quickly as possible. We'll be going over some basic information, electing progressive champions with Julie Oliver, fighting for progressive policies with Krupali Kumar, and our time student organizing. Carla Palamotis will tell us about her work to defund the Fort Worth police and will build a progressive coalition voter ID action plan. And Kevin Patterson will tell us more about what he did here in North Texas. To keep us focused as organizers and activists, we use this triangle. And those that have been on this call have seen this before. We elect progressive champions like the ones that you saw who just won their primaries, who are going to spread the progressive message and build progressive power in the communities that they represent. We also work to build a progressive party. That's a party that represents the people, not just the corporate 1%. We need a party that represents working families, not Wall Street. And we aim to change that, not just here in Texas, but in the nation. And finally, at the foundation of our work, we aim to win on progressive policies. You'll hear more about that as we move through the meeting tonight. Policies like a living wage, Medicare for all, ending mass incarceration, as well as ending mass criminalization. And that's why we aim to elect these progressive powerhouses into office. You can see some of our recent summary from national: 500,000 voter contacts on the national level, 200,000 activists at the state and local level, 62% currently of our candidates won races for mayor, DA, state legislation races, and US congressional races. And we're committed to continue that work now through November and into 2021. So we hope that you are in this for the long run and will continue the fight, much like we heard from Jim Hightower, who's been fighting the progressive fight for a very long time. So those of us that woke up tired today, and I know so many of us did, remember Jim, remember Bernie, remember those progressives who've been fighting for decades. And you'll hear in this call some of our very own community work that joins the work of other progressives across the nation. You can see amendments in Missouri for Medicare for all, improving. Many of you know Medicaid was expanded in other states like Oklahoma. We aim to continue that work on getting healthcare for everyone as a human right. Florida is fighting for a $15 minimum wage as a ballot measure, and California is fighting for an affordable housing measure for all as a ballot measure. And we plan to bring those fights to our local communities here so that we can bring justice for all and not just for the few. And again, you will hear more about those ballot measures. Across the state of Texas, we plan to aim local organizing efforts. So that means, yes, we get excited about federal and we get excited about congressional races, but the work that we do, the issues that we aim to win on start at the very bottom, at your city council, school board, county commissioner seats, DA seats, all the way up to our state legislative. And to do that work, we need you to become a member, not just a member, a supporting member, a dues paying member, as well as an activist and an organizer. To do that, you can go to ourrevolutiontx.com/membership. You can also volunteer at ourrevolutiontx.com/volunteer.
Thank you so much, Christy. So it is my honor to be introducing our candidate of the night, our very special guest, Julie Oliver. Julie is a former Medicaid mom turned attorney. She is an expert in healthcare finance, including a very, very strong advocate of Medicare for all. So Julie, thank you for joining us today. Julie, I believe you are muted.
Yes, I am. There I am. Here I am. Thank you, Clayton. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
So Julie, you are running against a Congress guy, a Congress critter, as Hightower would call him, who took a PPP loan, even though he's a millionaire. He owns a used car dealership and lives quite a ways out of the district. And all the while, recent New York Times said that 5.7 million Americans lost their insurance due to COVID-19. How would Medicare for All affect your district and the folks living in it?
Well, I wish we had, seriously 3 hours because I could talk about this for 3 hours, but we don't. So I will say that we have to untether healthcare from employment. We already know that Texas has the highest uninsured rate in our nation. Before the pandemic, about 5 million people were uninsured in Texas, just under 5 million people. That's only gotten worse since people have been laid off and furloughed, many of them having jobs that had insurance. Many of them had jobs that didn't have insurance. But it is truly absurd that we are facing a healthcare crisis, literally a pandemic, a global pandemic, and people who have lost their jobs in employer-based insurance are worried now about how they're going to pay for doctors. And truly, it's, I would say, immoral that if you are somebody who gets cancer in the wealthiest country in the world and you don't have insurance, your choice is medical bankruptcy or a hope and a prayer. And so it's, for me, Medicare for All is the right thing to do. You save lives, you improve outcomes, and you actually decrease cost. And I think that that's what so many people don't understand in this. And especially Texas has so much to gain, but Medicare for All is really a pro-growth policy. And it's the policy that we need to unlock this country's economic potential and our innovation. When you think about people being tied to a job because of their insurance, and maybe it's because they have a child or a family member who needs the insurance, or maybe themselves. I mean, that's certainly the case in our family. I have a son who has a lot of healthcare issues. I actually affectionately call him the walking pre-existing condition. And it is, shameful that we keep people tied to jobs that may not truly fulfill them, may actually dampen their innovation, their entrepreneurial spirit, but they have insurance. And we know that there are some huge challenges that we are facing as a nation, climate change being probably one of the most dire catastrophes that we are facing in the short term. And think about how much innovation we've lost in the green energy sector and industry because we've kept people tied to jobs when we could have unlocked that and really redeployed people to their highest purpose, their highest calling. And, I think about how we finance. Yeah, I love this question. Anyone love their insurance company? No, but how many people love their doctors? Yes. And in fact, oh gosh, I read today that United Healthcare released their earnings, their second quarter earnings, the highest earnings they've ever had in a company. And they're lying about this being temporary for them, that it'll all catch up later this year. It's never going to catch up because you can't add more hours to the day. And, when you talk about what we're paying for, we're paying our property taxes that is going to urgent care, emergent care when folks don't have insurance and they have chronic illnesses. We're paying for it through our income taxes to other states like Mitch McConnell's state, Kentucky, that did expand Medicaid. And we're paying for it clearly with our insurance premiums, copays, and deductibles. And we have so much to gain if we move to Medicare for All. And, again, I'll reiterate, the Medicare for All is an opportunity for us to improve outcomes, save lives. That is the morally right thing to do. We should be doing that. We should be helping each other. But again, it's not mutually exclusive of the costs. And we can actually save a lot in costs, healthcare costs and healthcare fluff, including not paying somebody like the United CEO $59,000 every day of the year, 365 days of the year. And that was in 2018 before these record profits. We're paying for that in our healthcare costs, and we should never pay for that ever again. So again, I could talk about this for 3 hours if we had the time, but I know we don't. And I do invite people, if they ever have questions about this or they want to know, like, how do I talk about this with my, grandparents? Call me. My number's on our website, or email me. Happy to share everything I know. I have a 15-year career in healthcare finance. And I am happy to share everything I know so that we can truly have an equitable system here in America when it comes to healthcare.
Well, thank you so much, Julie.
My
And
pleasure.
yeah, I definitely encourage all of y'all, if you have any questions for Julie, what does she think about a Green New Deal? What does she think about Justice for All, about Medicare for All? There is a Q&A function in Zoom. Ask your question. I'm certain she'll hang around as long as she can to answer. But we do have some actually very exciting news right before we move on to our next speaker. And y'all, you just heard from the newest nationally endorsed candidate of our revolution. So Julie, congratulations. You are now nationally endorsed by our revolution. We're excited to see what changes you will bring to Texas and to the nation as a whole. So again, thank you. We appreciate you for all you do, and we'll see you on the battlefield.
Yeah, and I will be. I'll stay to answer questions. So send them my way.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you. Going to pass the hat to Kevin.
Hi, everyone. Hello, my name's Kevin. I'm with Our Revolution North Texas and Sunrise Movement Dallas. I'm an organizer there as well. Phone banking this time and building coalitions right here in North Texas was huge for our two progressive wins with Lorenzo Sanchez and Jasmine Crockett. We saw throughout the night that phone banking was so critical. We started the Our Revolution dialer on this past Sunday with Jasmine, and you see with early vote, she was down by 709 votes. And then on election day, she became the winner with 88. And we see with the Our Revolution dialer, we were able to call so many with her whole campaign doing so much, and just the community in North Texas all coalescing together. And it shows when we organize, we are winning. And then you could see with that is why with also Lorenzo Sanchez, we see what's happening. And that's why I urge everyone on this call to take the pledge with me, Clayton, Christy, and many others that I pledge to help educate our revolution Texas progressives about the importance issues, local elections, and endorse candidates in their community. I encourage you guys to take it, and because it's so critical for these campaigns and so critical for us to win, so we can help organize and win with also like Julie Oliver, our newly endorsed candidate.
Mm-hmm. And we did just release a poll, will you phone bank for our revolution? Please answer yes, or if you're not quite certain, then just answer maybe, and just let us know. We will be needing to reach a lot more folks. And just to reiterate, we're not phone banking necessarily the general public, we're phone banking fellow progressives. We're phone banking the progressives of Texas. So this is a friendly crowd, and we're just making sure they know, like, hey, there's an election going on. Hey, here's how you can vote. Here's some good ways to make some good resources. That's what we're about education. Now I'm going to pass the hat to Christy, who will be talking about a student organizing with Kupali. Christy?
Yeah, so last week, Our Revolution National launched the Our Time organizing effort, which was an effort to get together with all of the Bernie student organizing groups across the nation and help them build coalitions university to university, state to state. Of course, in Texas, we have a ton of universities here to build those coalitions across our state and help students build strong, powerful, progressive voices in unison so that they can begin that work of changing their communities and campuses. On the Our Revolution, Our Time effort right now, you can see that we had Ilhan Omar launched the event. There was an article in a Teen Vogue, very progressive magazine for young people. But also, we want to say that Our Time is an opportunity for all of those young people, high school students, college campus students, who want to begin organizing on an effort that includes coalition building. And to join us tonight, we have a wonderful student organizer in Austin. I had the privilege of meeting this group over the past few weeks and joined them for an event in Austin. Krupali helped organize with Austin Liberation Youth Movement. Krupali, can you tell us a little bit about ALYM and the work that you're doing and why you were inspired to begin organizing as a student?
Absolutely. First of all, hello everyone. As Christy previously mentioned, my name is Krupali Kumar. I'm currently a high schooler and I in Austin, Texas, and me and along with a couple other high schoolers, some of who have graduated high school and some of who are still in high school, we decided to come up with this organization called Austin Liberation Youth Movement. And we're basically a group of radical progressive youth activists who are trying to implement and enforce revolutionary change within Austin, Texas. And to respond to the question of what inspired us, I guess the first sort of the singular incident that really provoked us to initiate this movement was the murder of George Floyd. Me, along with so many other young people, we're well aware of this issue, and we know this issue exists, of the issue of police brutality and racialized violence towards Black people, Indigenous people, and people of color. But more so than just, being aware of it and feeling angry towards this sort of injustice, we saw that there was a lack of mobilizing among young people. We saw that a lot of these movements, grassroots movements, were well-intentioned and great, but there weren't really young voices being amplified. So we decided that we would also like to amplify young voices, especially young Black people, Indigenous people, people of color, and work alongside those grassroots movements to really, work together as a collective society towards resolving these issues. So our organization really focuses on the issues that our time and our revolution also prioritizes, many of which are demilitarizing law enforcement, defunding the police. Recently, with the recent city council budget that came out, this is just proof that there still needs to be organizing, there still needs to be advocacy, because change is not being implemented. So we really need to demand it, and that comes through organizing and mobilizing.
That's so awesome, Polly. I thank you so much for all the work you guys did. We marched, and it was over 100 degrees that day.
It was a very difficult time to organize in, especially with the pandemic and everything. But we really do appreciate everyone who came out. And of course, social distancing is something that we prioritized, but we still thank everybody who came out and supported the cause.
And I'm inspired, Krupali, because some of your co-organizers, the leadership that you work with, one of them was a Bernie delegate, is going to be a Bernie delegate to the convention this year. So we're very happy and excited to hear that you guys are organizing on that level. And I just want to say you guys are so inspiring. And I hope all of your work, continues to be successful. We will lift you as much as we can through our revolution, student organizing. If you guys haven't learned about our time, you can go to the Our Revolution national page to find out more. Share those links with the young people that you know, so that they can begin to be the voice of change in their schools, in their communities, and on their campuses. Thank you, Krupali.
And if anyone wants to learn more about Austin Liberation, I can definitely put the link in the chat.
Awesome. So we will quickly move to, these local efforts, our local organizers on the ground working in these communities. They are really the people that will make the difference, not just for elections federally, but elections locally. And our organizer in Fort Worth, Carla Palamotas, has done a ton of work in Fort Worth. Carla has recently worked with a coalition effort, several groups, one to mention Fort Worth Futures and Our Revolution, on Proposition A, an effort to defund Fort Worth police. Carla, can you tell us a little bit about what you guys organized, what that proposition was, the Vote No campaign on Proposition A in Fort Worth?
Hey, Christy, thank you so much. Yeah, I can definitely let you guys know that we're super excited to share that over the last week leading up to Election Day, local grassroots volunteers and activists we had dropped over 3,800 door hangers and made over 4,500 calls on the Our Revolution dialer to get out the vote in Fort Worth against Prop A. So Prop A was a ballot measure to renew CCPD, which is Crime Control Prevention District funding of $1 billion to Fort Worth PD, which we think is absolutely ridiculous, especially in light of recent events. So while Prop A did actually still pass, we were able to make record voter turnout on this particular issue and increase the support against. So the vote no on Prop A, we actually increased it by 20 points. Last time this was voted on in 2014, it had passed with upwards of 85% of the vote. This time it only passed with 65% of the vote. So these are the stepping stones to defunding police and working towards the real solutions that we actually need in our communities to make everyone feel safer. So we're really proud of Our Revolution, Tarrant County, everybody who jumped on the dialer, Fort Worth Futures, Unite Fort Worth. We just want to give out shout outs to everybody in Fort Worth who did such an amazing job to help get the vote out.
Yeah, so this is, inspiring work to let everyone know, pay attention to what your city council is doing, right, Carla? How they're organizing, ways that we can work to have our message and our values to be, prevalent. And, those phone calls, those voter IDs, making those calls, people, what did you say, Carla? They genuinely didn't know this was happening.
Yeah, that's true. We found that a lot of people were very in support of voting no, but they were so surprised that this was just a ballot measure out there that kind of tried to slip by them. And they were very excited to know that we were making those calls to let them know and inform them so they could have a voice in the decision, because $1 billion is a lot of taxpayer money to be allocated to the police department.
$1 billion. And on that note, we will move to, we always say voter contact, voter turnout is the key to winning, right? That's why we organize. We organize to make sure that progressives are represented in these seats. And that means that we have to ID voters and turn them out to vote. And we do that using the Bernie dialer, the Our Revolution dialer. And to speak about the work that he's done here in North Texas, Kevin, you spoke earlier about phone banking efforts and how we as a coalition, or we as the movement, need to make these calls to inform voters. But can you tell us specifically about what you did here in North Texas on those calls and some of the wins you were able to experience with voter ID measures and dialing?
That's an awesome question. Thank you, Christy. So to go on phone banking in that measures in particular, you can really analyze it in each race. First, you can see with Jasmine Crockett, now Representative-elect Jasmine Crockett, you can see, like I said, on Sunday, we started using the Our Revolution dialer, and little did we know, on that Friday, after Friday, we were down 709 votes, but we did not stop. We called the Our Revolution, the Bernies in the district twice through a full sweeping list with many Our Revolution organizers in North Texas and Texas overall, and we were able to get with the campaign and everyone going together and bring out the 88 vote win that we ended up having. But then if you look at Lorenzo Sanchez, we started from the beginning when he was endorsed, and we paved through 4 times through the Bernie list, and we were able to get all the Bernies in his district, however many there was a lot, and it ended up paving a 407 down loss after early voting to then winning by 211 votes. Some of the key takeaways throughout these calls and why they were so important: there was Bernie supporters in the district who were not thinking about voting at all, who were so bummed out, like, with everything that's happening. And what we had to get them out, we had to tell them that it was just not about him, it was about a movement, and how we have districts, how we have people down ballot running on the same bold agenda that he has, and building a crucial framework to building a movement yet again. And that's why if you look back, if you look at the establishment when Bernie lost, they thought we were over, but they didn't know he planted seeds, and the work that he was able to do basically fueled a movement that was able to continue and to continue on. Some of the key takeaways also with the Bernie dialer was not just about these elections that we had, but with calling with Lorenzo, calling with Jasmine, we were able to comb through those lists, and so when future elections happen, those candidates have a better list of calling straight to the Bernie people and knowing who's the real progressive and then get volunteers and organize better in the future.
Yeah, so IDing those voters, IDing those progressives is so paramount to our work in primaries, especially primary runoffs. So thank you, Kevin, all of the people who organized those efforts. It was a coalition effort, Kevin. I know you worked not just with Our Revolution using the Our Revolution dialer, but Working Families Party, as well as Sunrise. It was a group effort. And when progressives build power in solidarity with one another, we will win, even if it's by 80 something votes, right, Kevin?
Absolutely. It took everyone. For the 3 mass phone banks we did at the very end, it was the Texas Working Families Party, Sunrise Women Dallas, and Our Revolution using the Our Revolution dialer, but it was the volunteers that showed when we organize, we win.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Kevin. We appreciate all the work that everyone did here in North Texas. And we know that we're sending up some bold progressives, y'all. Some Medicare for All, Green New Deal progressives to the Texas House. And we're so proud of the work that everyone did. Thank you for that work. Not just in North Texas, but also in Houston. We have several House candidates, 3 that won. So thanks, guys.
All right, so thank y'all still for being with us right now. So quick bit about Our Revolution. We do have a lot of local organizing still going on because as we've been saying, we believe in building local powerhouses. So we have 12 regions and quite a few of these regions are very active and they have their own meetings that we will be telling you about shortly. So we have Red River, Panhandle, Big Country, El Paso, San Antonio, the RGV, East Texas, North Texas, Central Texas, Southeast Texas, Gulf Coast, and Coastal Bend. You can learn more about them at Our Revolution Texas /events. And look, y'all, we really do need y'all to become members of Our Revolution Texas. I'm a member. Chrissy's a member. Kevin's a member. Carla's a member. We have hundreds and thousands of supporters, and we really do need y'all to become one of them. Because, I mean, look, we have 18 candidates now on the ballot in November. We have 18 folks and we have so many issues. We have Medicare for all, or what's this, let's be texting y'all, it's Medicare for y'all. We have Medicare for y'all resolutions in various county commissions, maybe even soon to be the Dallas County Commission. We have letter writing campaigns. We have so many issues going on. We are going to be creating a platform for education because God forbid they are messing up our education now, particularly with COVID. They were already messing it up before. Now they're just making it worse. So we really do need y'all to become members of Our Revolution Texas. We are also working on the Texas Fair Justice Act. It was written by the Coalition of Black Democrats. We are standing with them, with Austin Justice Coalition, and with a bunch of other really great folks and great organizations to be pushing this so that we can have real justice reform, including, of course, legalization, ending cash bail, and a whole bunch of other things. So really, y'all, join me, join Christy, join all of us in becoming a member of Our Revolution. So that's just ourrevolutiontx.com/membership. If you RSVP'd for this, we'll be sending you the link, but hey, we encourage you to do it now. Just become a member. Our average membership donation is $11 a month because we ain't funded by billionaires and we ain't funded by millionaires. We're funded by folks like us. And here we have a quick list of future upcoming meetings for East Texas. This Saturday, y'all, 2 p.m. We have Central Texas is coming up. We have RGV coming up. West Texas. We are doing our very first West Texas meeting on Tuesday the 28th at 6 p.m. Harris County. So Harris County is one of our big counties, is one of our very active counties, and they are doing great. They are fantastic. And their meetings are the first Saturday of every single month at 2. So be sure to, if you live in Harris County or anywhere near, just pop on in. It's all virtual. All of our meetings are virtual these days. At Fort Bend and Brazoria County, where Dr. Cantu is, they have a meeting second Saturday of every month. In Southeast Texas, that's our Beaumont area. They just had their first meeting just earlier this week. great meeting, that we're building the political revolution, and we're not doing it just in the Texas Triangle, but throughout Texas. You can learn more at our website at ourrevolutiontx.com/events. So once you become a member, y'all, go to events, sign up locally so we can continue building local power. And that is going to be our show for tonight. Now we always have a chant, and Christy's the chanter out of our virtual office nowadays. And it's when we organize, we win. So I think we should just go ahead and unmute everyone. And then we can do a little chant. How's that sound, Christy?
No, let's try it.
Yeah.
Feeling
What
great.
could possibly go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong? We almost took every seat we endorsed. So
Yeah.
organize.
We win.
We win.
When we organize.
We win.
When we organize.
We win.
That's the solution.
Our revolution.
All right, we'll see you guys on the next call. We're going to kill it in November and talk to you guys soon.
All right. Thank y'all.